Hello and welcome to Saturday's reflection. I wonder if you've been following the readings that we have been taking you through over the last few days. We're finishing off the story of Joseph, and the reading yesterday, Genesis 49, is a very curious account, which is called Jacob Blesses His Sons. He's on his deathbed, basically, and it's the end of the chronicle of their account of being in Egypt, the famine, restitution, having to beg to this person called Joseph, who actually turned out to be their son. All that story has taken place already. And now at the end of his life, Jacob blesses his sons. But actually, when you read Genesis 49, it's not exactly a blessing. It's a judgment on his children. Not all of them either. Reuben particularly gets a bad press, and quite a few others don't get mentioned at all. But there's truth being told. I wonder if some of you thought that what I wrote in my bulletin on Wednesday this last week about our eldest daughter Amy was perhaps a little bit too true for public consumption. I spoke in the bulletin about the way in which she was a dreadful teenager, and she was unlikable, even though we kept loving her as best we could. It seems to have hit a sensitive nerve in a positive way for a few people, and it's been interesting to see some of the comments about the way in which sometimes when we tell the truth in love, actually it releases and it gives permission for others to do the same. I spoke in that bulletin as well about the way in which our relationship with Amy has blossomed, and it's fantastic, and it's all that a parent would wish for. I thought today I might say something about our relationship with our other daughter, Naomi, which is equally good. The two of them, as siblings are curiously different from one another, but curiously similar as well. And we've had some wonderful times with Naomi, who presently lives down in Bristol. I'm actually wearing a t-shirt that I bought while I was in Cambodia a few years ago with Naomi, who's working for the Bible Society at the time. She works for Christians Against Poverty now, but she worked for the Bible Society and was out there organising a conference. And this is the t-shirt. I wonder if you can make out the lettering. Flight of the Gibbon from Siem Reap, and there it is flying through the trees. We met up in Cambodia, like you do. I'd been visiting Vietnam, a friend Ian Fletcher over there, and touring the country, given that opportunity, and met up in Siem Reap, which is the second city of Cambodia. And it's the place where there is Angkor Wat, which is one of the great sights that if you get the chance to see, well, it's fantastic. And I managed to get there for the sunrise one particular morning, and there were hundreds of people there just to watch the sun come up over the magnificent temple. But just a mile or so away in the jungle, there is the Flight of the Gibbon, a tourist attraction, and Naomi and I had decided that we would have fun while we were out there, and And the flight of the gibbon entails you climbing up on ladders through the tall teak trees to the top of the jungle canopy, and there to undertake a series of zip wires and rope bridges and all kinds of amazing things, hundreds of feet up in the air, with the call of the gibbon accompanying you on the way. A bit scary, a bit different from what I usually do, but an amazing and wonderful experience. So I've been blessed. We are blessed with the daughters that we have, both of them. We have good relationships with them both, really good. But obviously with Naomi living in Bristol, that has been difficult to sustain, though we are extremely excited that it looks as if they are moving to the northeast very soon, and we'll be able to see more of them. We're really hoping that comes through. So yeah, we've been very blessed, and we give thanks to God for that. And perhaps we need to say that to our loved ones, that indeed we cherish the relationships that we have. Jacob did that with Joseph. Despite everything that had happened, Joseph was dear to Jacob's heart. And it led, in the end, to Joseph responding to that when his father was declining and dying, and afterwards. And today's reading, the very end of the story in Genesis chapter 50, sees the aftermath of that, the result of it, the way in which Joseph, through his relationship with his father, had become a splendid person. He's shown in Genesis 50 to be generous and forgiving, to want the best for his brothers, even though the past had been a murky one where they tried to get rid of him. And even though in Genesis 50 still we see, after Jacob had died, they continue to try and play games out of their very selfish agenda. But Joseph wants to bless them. He wants the very best for them. And so the story of Joseph, a long, long story, comes to an end. In the end, his brothers do his dying wish, and he's buried where he wants to be buried. It's a story given loads and loads of chapters. Significant story, not just about an amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, but about somebody who set some of the important themes that we will find later on through the Bible, and particularly in Jesus. One of graciousness and generosity and forgiveness, of wanting the best for other people no matter what they do for you. Even though they continue to play their selfish games, still wanting the very best for them and doing everything that we can to pursue that selfless agenda. And the world needs that. So take heart from this story. It's an Old Testament story, and sometimes we hang a bit loose from them. But in fact, God can speak to us through it. May God bless you.